Hi, Martin here. I wish peace and greetings to people wherever they are in the world. I want to talk now just briefly about visualizations. Visualizations are something that I've used a great deal over the last 20 years, and the first book that I read was a book called Creative Visualization, and I read it about 20 years ago by Shakti Gawain, who is actually a white woman with an Indian name, or an Indian pen name. I remember thinking how powerful this book actually was, and the first visualization I ever really did, I had to sit on a chair and imagine light coming through my head and into my body, and it was a very powerful experience. But I'm not actually talking today about visualizing lights. I'm talking about visualizing things that you want. And when you visualize for something that you want, when you actually problem solve, some people are very visual. Take Nikola Tesla, for example. He had a photographic memory, and his visual sense was so strong that he never needed to write notes. He could see this three-dimensional reality, as did Leonardo da Vinci, who was slightly different. He'd see himself going up in a glass elevator, and he'd walk around a glass room where he'd see machines and inventions that hadn't been invented, like helicopters and other parts of machinery, and he drew pictures of them. But all of this depended on the individual's ability to visualize and see inside their minds what they actually want to create. Now, this is the visualization technique, and the other example that springs to mind is the guy that ran 100 meters in under 10 seconds. And the sports coaches get these people to see themselves visualizing. You have to see yourself actually doing that process and then become a part of it. And the problem is, when we're confronted with a problem, we actually run a negative picture show. We actually visualize the fear or the worst possible outcome. Now, even if we can block that out and stop that from happening, if we can just stop visualizing that or be aware enough, that's what we're actually seeing in our minds. It can change the dynamic of it completely. It will give us an opportunity to experience something different. And people are very much limited by how they see themselves and how they run the picture show in their mind. And I went to a workshop once, and there was a guy there who was rejected and abandoned by his father. And whenever the thing was, he needed acceptance and love. And so he would deliberately annoy people and do things, rebellious things to annoy people. And he did this to me, and I realised that he needed some love and some nurturing. And I did not reject him. But in his reality, in his perception of reality, he believed that I was rejecting him and telling him to leave me alone. But I wasn't actually saying anything of that sort to him at all. That was just his perception was so powerful, that is what he was experiencing in reality. And these visualizations, we need to visualize a positive outcome, and we need to see ourselves step by step when we work through problems, going through the process, seeing the outcome that we want, not the one that we don't want. A lot of people try these visualizations and they try affirmations and they say, well, that didn't work. I got exactly the opposite of what I wanted. And that's because the fear and the negative programming is a powerful force in people's lives. And you've just got to block it out, and you've got to either process it, look deeply within inside yourself and process it out of you and thoroughly understand it. And if you're not on that path, then you've got to put it out of your mind. A picture is worth 1,000 words, it is said. And visualizing the goal that you hope for and seeing yourself happy in that goal is very powerful. One more short story. In Dr. Joseph Murphy's book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, there was a guy who was in a Nazi concentration camp, and the conditions were atrocious. They never ate, they were underfed, people were dying, but he continually visualized himself in New York, walking down a street with a woman that he loved, and he continually saw himself as being happy. And he was in either Auschwitz or one of the Nazi concentration camps. And the time came when there was a miscount of the prisoners, and he had an opportunity to actually escape from the prison camp. Everyone else died. But that is the power of the visualization. And because he held this picture in his mind and he believed it so strongly, He escaped from this concentration camp and ended up in America and ended up married to this woman. So it's how you see yourself and where you want to be and how you picture that. And if you're negative and you've got negative emotions and you're running a negative picture show and you're limited by your internal dialogue and by the way that you see things, the life you want's never going to happen for you. So visualizations are very powerful, and thank you for listening to this video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.